Good evening and welcome. Good evening and welcome, everyone, to Practice Makes Perfect League with DRC, the show that looks at observed data within the Perfect League ladder to help inform the direction of your team, to help make your team just ever so slightly more likely to take home some hardware next week. What we're going to do here on this show is we're going to look at my team, how my team did this week, some of the decisions that I made to change it from the weeks prior. We're also going to look at data from around the various leagues. We'll check out who our league leaders are this week. We'll check out who our standout performers are on an individual player, individual team basis. And then we'll also roll up all those numbers and we will look at what players over large sample sizes, and boy, do we have some tonight, are doing the best and are worthy of your adoration, are worthy of you targeting them and adding them to your Perfect League team. So how's everyone doing tonight? Everyone put in the chat one good thing they did this weekend. One thing they're feeling good about. It's a busy weekend here at the DRC house. We were celebrating Mother's Day, for sure. We had some fun. We did some cooking this morning, some baking. Tom Budaman played some soccer. Luke 1111's son's soccer team won the cup. There's a lot of sharing going on in the chat, and I gotta say I love it. The tone and tenor of this stream is always meant to be collaborative. It's always meant to be a collective journey through the data. So we'll try to keep this a two-way conversation tonight as we explore what it is we've seen tonight. All right, so a couple of things I wanted to say at the jump. So just kind of a PSA here. The data that is being shared on stream tonight is 100% available to everyone. It is residing in my Discord, which if you need a link to it, if you need an invitation, you are more than welcome to DM me and I'll ping you to it. The invite is open to anyone. Anyone within there can invite anyone else. I believe I have that setting set up correctly. If not, someone let me know. But all of the leagues that are posted in there are downloadable by everyone. So there is nothing black boxy at all about what's in front of you here. All it is an aggregation of all of the data and labeling that aggregation. So there was some chat in various channels before about wondering how all this data comes together and exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And honestly, there's nothing. As of about 2 hours ago, I sit down in this chair right here and I start pulling data as fast as my little fingertips can. Because at this point in time, we are to the point where it takes me every single second that I have to get all of the data. Like this week, I had to leave 4 leagues on the sidelines because I just didn't have enough time. Because we breached the 6 million plate appearance mark this week. But if you are someone who likes looking at observed stats, that Discord channel and all of those files just sitting there waiting for you to grab them is a treasure trove. And if you're a modeler, if you're someone who likes to build a model, well, you got to build that model off of something. And there is a boatload of observed data just waiting there for you. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to DM me, but happy to get you pointed in the right direction there. Okay, another thing, and this is important. I am only guaranteeing you guys one extra week of PMPL, of Practice Makes Perfect League. So a week from today is May 16th. I will be here. We will be doing this show exactly as it is. But for the 2 weeks after that, I'm taking the family on a Wild West road trip. We're doing 2 weeks on the road. We've got our camper. We are going everywhere from the Grand Canyon to every national park that you can dream of. It's going to be wild, but there will be 2 weeks where I will not be able to stream to you fine people. And then when I get back, as we turn the calendar over to June, if June 6th is a Perfect League World Series day, that's what we'll do. I have not been told that it will be. I have no reason to believe that it will. but that's right in the time frame where it could be. Now, if it's not, if this is the last weekend before the Perfect League, that's great. Then we'll do this show. We'll look at the data, and we'll give you guys all the information you need to try to jump into Perfect League the following week. But that's how it's going to go. That's how it's going to go. So we're going to miss 2 weeks of this show. We'll miss 2 weeks of my Thursday show. I don't know if there's an interim plan there. Maybe Kidneys runs it solo. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so Stone Bell's asking where this trove of data is on Discord. It's in my personal Discord. I can get you a link to it. I don't have one offhand right now, so I won't go grabbing it. But DM me on the Discord, and I'll make sure you get where you're looking to go. Ooh, some good advice in the chat here about where I should be checking out on this long road trip. Well, let me tell you one thing about Mrs. DRC. So she is the most organized and most amazing woman on the planet, and what better day to recognize her than here on Mother's Day. And she has plot by plot, point by point, I believe it's a 103-step plan for how we're getting through these 2 weeks. We know the gas stations we're stopping at. We know the campsites we're stopping at. We know how long we're going on this trail and that trail. So it's very prescriptively planned at this point in time. But spontaneity has always been something that's been part of our vacations as well. So I'm more than welcoming any suggestions and would love to hear it. Have I ever gone on a 2-week road trip with a family? No. This is the first. Now, will it be the last? I don't know. I actually think the kids are going to do a great job in the car. I think we've got a great plan for the activities needed to keep them occupied and entertained. And I think the activities we'll be doing will have everyone having a great time. But we'll see. There's only one way to find out. There's only one way to find out. Arts Lab asking me what the vehicle is. So we've got a Honda Pilot that will be towing the little trailer that we've got behind it. So hopefully that goes well. Hopefully that goes well. All right, what else did I want to say before we get started? I think that's it. Yeah, data's for everyone. All right, so let's look at the Nomads this week. The Nomads pick up 104 wins, somehow in the BFF League again. I believe this is 3 out of 4 weeks, or maybe 4 out of the past 4 weeks where I have been in a league littered with BFF teams. And those BFF teams are built pretty well. So I feel great about the performance this week. Feel really great about 104 wins in a tough league in a tough division. I had Zenith breathing down my neck all week long. Or not Zenith, Cuevas. Sorry. Zenith was in the league, I believe. Yes. So it was a fun week for sure. And how did it end? Well, it ended, I kind of just blew it there by showing that screen. It ended with a Naperville Nomads sweep. So we pick up another title. We add a gold title icon, a title that I never won all last season. Never got a gold league. I spent 2 weeks in gold last game cycle and didn't win either time. So I'm very happy to get this one. Very happy to be entering the diamond realm with a little bit of uncle momentum behind me. So feeling really good about that one and beating a player in JDA who is not one to be trifled with. So that was pretty exciting to see happen today. Now let's look at the team. What is the team that came together to win this league? Well, we've got some major, and I mean major, changes week over week. And what was driving those changes? Well, it was the completion of the Negro League collection. So, as you see for the first time, we've got Oscar Charleston. As you see for the first time, we've got Jackie Robinson. And we've got Josh Gibson. So that doesn't hurt. When you're in a tough league and you're really needing to grind out some wins, getting those 3 cards all in one fell swoop was a huge difference maker. And you can see, based on Jackie Robinson getting 110 games played, it happened around Tuesday of this week. Happened around Tuesday of this week. I plugged those guys in, and they had some big weeks for me, for sure. The other thing I did is I stopped playing heavy behind the plate. You know, it's time to start getting serious about winning, to start getting serious about helping my pitchers out, and his 57 catcher ability just not really up to snuff. So I put Heavy into more of a utility role at positions that he's not going to be as much of a detriment. So Heavy had a bit of a role shift, and Heavy didn't like it. Look at Heavy's observed performance degradation, scaling down from a 152 OPS plus for me 4 weeks ago to only 91 this week. So he did not like losing those catcher reps there. And the increase in quality of pitching held him down a little bit more this week for sure. All right, what else? So my Josh Gibson was really good. 277, 351 on the OBP. He slugged over 500. You know, as you move up the perfect team ladder, it's harder and harder to find someone slugging over 500 just because the quality and the play itself is so smoothed out. So it's good to see him having as big a week as he had. 291 plate appearances. So put this on a 600 plate appearance pace, and you're talking about nearly a 40 home run guy. So Josh Gibson, absolutely huge for me this week. 2.4 WAR logged for the Nomads. And then pairing with him was Jonathan Lew Croy. I mean, these catchers carrying the team. A 324, 388 OBP, 453 slug for Lew Croy. Definitely huge. Got to say, I've got the league's best catchers. If I've got Gibson on a 40 homer pace, and I've got Lew Croy hitting 324 and getting on base almost 40% of the time. Yeah, so the thing I like about Lew Croy is that he's got good catcher ability, so 76, and good is all relative, right? So if you're sitting on McCarver and Molina, or McCarver and Charles Johnson, yeah, this catcher ability doesn't get you out of your chair. But if you had been rocking Heavy Johnson, then this is a pretty big upgrade. And from a hitting perspective, you've got a nice shape to this profile here, one that I do expect to be sized out over time. And heck, I mean, we got his 100 card coming, so that right then and there should counterfeit this card. But for now, you've got a good BABIP on here. You've got gap power driving the slug. You've got a decent eye. Whale Kings team stole 8 bases off of Lew Croy in Game 1 of the World Series. Definitely not the best arm in the world. 55 arm. So Nick Madrigal had to deal with a demotion this week. He had been my everyday, everyman second baseman, but when Jackie's in the fold, that is no longer the case. And he slided into a utility role extremely well. So chop his plate appearances in half, go down from 600 to 300, but those 300 plate appearances were even higher quality than before. He batted 368. He picked up more WAR this week in half-time than he did last week in full-time. So just love this Nick Madrigal card. He is covering for Jackie Robinson at second base. And then that's really all he's doing, because at shortstop, as part of the Jackie collection, I went the route of Willie Wells. So I bought Willie Wells, paid a little bit of a premium. I want to say it was around 15% premium to go Wells versus the cheapest route possible. And I did so because I thought for the interim time, he could be my shortstop. So better defensive rating than Jackie Robinson. He's got a batting profile that's similar to Lew Croy. I expect this to eventually be counterfeit and turn in some pretty poor offensive performance. But for now, pretty effective, downright good versus left-hand pitching. And defensively, just really, really solid. So at a slightly less than league average bat here, as you see from an 88 OPS plus, he's still logging 4.5 WAR. Logging 4.5 WAR, and I love that. And so huge changes to the Nomads. So last week we had what? We had we had Trammell at short, and then we had Madrigal at second. And so this week we go Wells at short, Jackie at second. My pitchers must have just been singing my praises in the clubhouse, because that is a gigantic upgrade at 2 of the more important positions. And we haven't even yet talked about Oscar Charleston going out to center field. So Charleston, a huge, huge upgrade out in center. You see him putting up a better than league average bat here with an 808 OPS plus. You see him stealing some bases. Probably need to tone it down a little bit there because the rate's not as good as I'd like. but you see him picking up 3.5 WAR himself. So the cavalry definitely showed up this week. We were rocking some new players, and they were helping out. Let's look at the league info here. You see from a defensive efficiency perspective, number 1 in the conference. Zone rating at plus 30, number 2 in the conference. So some sparkling statistics here for sure. Feeling good about the Nomads. And you know what, guys? Like, we are just not that far. We are not that far from diamond leagues that are being played for the right to step into Perfect League. And that alone gets me super excited. The prospect of us having a Perfect League World Series that I get to broadcast and we get to crown a champion every week, like, we are not very far. It's been, 6 weeks since we've been into this game, and we don't have that much time to wait until we are at that point. So we have entered what I'll call min-max realm. It is time to tune that main league team. It is time to start coalescing around the players that you need to have a diamond team that is ready to compete against other high-level diamond teams that can get you into Perfect League. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. There are at least a handful of other players that I'd love to target here. I've got some packs that I've got saved up. As you see there, I don't have as many perfect points as I'd like to start moving in that direction, but I'm feeling the clock ticking for me. And it might be time to start thinking that for yourself as well. All right, let's go pitching. Let's see what's going on the pitching front. So, I picked up a new 5 this week. So we know that these profiles are working. So here's Harry Howell. This is someone who showed well in our data for the past couple of weeks. A cheap pitcher, only 14,000 perfect points, but we see the high, high, low, meaning high stuff, high movement, high control. That's been pretty effective in our data. And so I stumbled across another pitcher that fit that same profile in Jake Arrieta. Maybe a little bit worse on the control, a little bit better on the movement. And I said, let's give it a try. So Jake Arrieta as a 5, I picked him up halfway through the season. He did 15 starts, and they were good. Maybe the whip's a little bit high there, but keeping the ERA under 4. So definitely not displeased there. Not a long-term answer for you, but given that there could be some diamond cards needed for some upcoming collections, that was an investment I was happy to make. All right, what else is new? So Howell and Matlack, Page and Young, all carryovers from last week. You see that Cy Young was the best of them this week. And one thing I wanted to point out is that stamina alone does not guarantee you big innings. And so I feel like the delta between Cy Young and Satchel Paige really shows you the importance of control. So Cy Young, 111 on the stamina. Satchel Paige, not too different. So Satchel Paige, 105. So call it 6 points. But the reason that Cy Young picks up 35 more innings here has a lot to do with the fact that Satchel Paige's control is down at 74, whereas Cy Young had 97. So Cy Young only walking 31 batters over the course of the full season, whereas Satchel Paige issuing 83 free passes. So just keep in mind when you're looking at that stamina, that's not a guarantee for how long people will go in games on average. You also need to understand how many pitches are they going to waste, how much faster are they going to burn through that stamina by issuing the free pass. Ochoa says Cy Young's P10 is a travesty at 40K. Yeah, I mean, he's the best pitcher in the game, or arguably one of the best pitchers in the game, but I mean, supply and demand is a powerful force. And if there's a ton of Cy Youngs out there, not a ton of buyers, then the market's going to do what the market's going to do. All right, so let's talk bullpen. I found a couple of guys this week that I am excited about. So Bob Locker being one of them. Bob Locker, a low diamond, was showing well in our data. And as we look at the profile here, you see it's pretty splitty. You see it's much, much stronger versus right-hand batters, with movement that's off the charts, control that's really good, and stuff that's not that deficient. Now put him versus lefties, and it's a slightly different equation, but the movement and control is still strong. Still strong. So Bob Locker, I bought him I want to say Tuesday or Thursday. Maybe it was Wednesday, somewhere in the middle there. But Bob Locker in a stopper role had a great week for me. 170 on the ERA. Did so with a league average BABIP too. So it's not like he was dodging raindrops and getting extremely lucky, with the exception of the home run rate. So 63 innings, and somehow he gave up 0 home runs. Even with his great movement, that's a bit of an outlier. Lowry asking if I think Page ultimately ends up in the bullpen. Well, I mean, we saw this flock in PT21. You have your pitchers that make your top 5 starters, and then over the course of time, better starters come out, and then what do you do with those existing ones? Now, the thing that allowed for such an easy migration in PT21 was the stuff boost. So it's just logical that your starters with a stuff boost would be better than your native relievers. Now, without it, we'll see if that's still the case. Now, Satchel, because he's coming with a ton of stuff and pretty strong movement, I do think that it's more likely that he ends up in a pen before he ends up rendered useless in a full meta team. Real Teddy-O asking for my park dimensions. Let me show it to you. Just about as neutral gets. So no park factor silliness this week for the Nomads. All right, back to the pitching rotation. So, again, this will probably be my first mispronounced name of the stream. We'll have to have someone check me in the chat here. But Hal Haid was the other guy that I picked up and identified as someone that I wanted to give a go. Now, in the short period that I had him, 11 innings pitched. He did not do well. He gave up 3 homers, which is definitely an outlier for him. He's got good movement. The walk rate wasn't as good as perhaps you'd hope, although with the control, maybe that's expected. So not a great performance, but someone that I'm going to give a go next week as well. I think this is a good card. I think that's a good card. And then Irv Young, I continued with him in the stopper role. He had another great season, even better than the season I got out of him in Silver. We're talking about 100 bullpen innings here of high leverage pitching and doing that at or around a 3 ERA or better for a card that costs 2,400 perfect points. Like, heck yeah, Irv Young getting it done. All right, what else is going on in this bullpen? Langston, Chapman, Verlander. I'll just call those placeholders at this point. I don't have anyone that I feel is going to be definitely better than them, but happy enough with them so far. Joe Nathan holding down the closer role as well. Did great last week, did good this week, so no reason to rush him out of town. No reason to rush him out of town. So there it is, guys. That's the Nomads. That's where we're at. As I'm looking to next week, I don't know exactly where I'm targeting. I don't know what the plan is. I feel pretty good about a lot of different positions. Now, the thing that I don't like, and let's look at this lineup here that's partially blocked by my head, so apologies for that, but I see so many right-hand batters. So my versus right lineup has 7 of them. That is not at all what I want. So I'd love to find a big lefty bat. Maybe I find a big lefty bat for first base. I've got Hack Wilson still in at DH. That's probably not long for this meta. I have him alternating time with Alan Trammell. So maybe I find a lefty bat to take that spot too. So I'm looking to get a little bit more balance in the lineup. We'll see how and where I find that. And Meme Lord saying just go righty cheese on the park. And I could do that. I don't necessarily want to yet. Port Dog suggesting Ginger Beaumont, who used to be on my team. He was on the early streams. Diamond Reigns, says Minerva. Are we getting a Build a Legend next week, says Zozu. I don't know about that. I don't know. But I know that the night that we do get that, that's going to be pretty transformative. It'll be curious to see how many people auto-complete, how many of those versus need to work their way there. And it'll be interesting how many of those immediately usurp the existing meta players at their positions. Smokey Burgess, says Chuck. Need to find my way to a Smokey. Helton, maybe. All right, so it is time to shift our focus. So enough talk about the Nomads. You guys aren't here to talk about the Nomads. You guys are here to talk about your team. You guys are here to talk about the players that you're seeing in your teams of all the data that you submitted to me. So first, let's look at all the data that I got. Guys, you are overwhelming me. You literally broke me today. I finally got to the point where I couldn't get all the leagues in. If yours is one of the leagues I couldn't get in due to time, I apologize. But I had 6.5 million plate appearances that I had to get to, and I simply ran out of time. And as you see the spread of these leagues across all the different levels, we've got good representation. Very good representation. So what is this in total? This is 35 different perfect team leagues. 6.5 million plate appearances. So thank you all. You guys rock. You're awesome. You guys are this show. You guys are. Killing it with the data, people, just as Meme Lord says. And the thing that I'm most excited about is that we got 6 diamond leagues. How many are there total? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 or so. So we got about half the diamond leagues. We got a good number of gold and a great number of silver. So the further and further we move from launch, the more and more attention we're paying to those high level leagues. Real Tedio asking to break down the average homer per level. Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty tight range here. So we see that the average is 46.31 globally. And then if, say, you looked at Diamond, it's 46.01. So we're talking about a delta of 30, and then just randomly grabbing Bronze, 46.23, 46.18. So right there. Right there. And again, all of this data, guys, is just sitting on my Discord waiting for you to download it. Anybody out there can have all this stuff. You just see one of those files that someone has posted and click the download button, and you are on your way. On your way. All right, so now that we've got all this data, who's winning? Who is winning? So our highest observed win rate all time is the one season we got of the New York Highlanders, 142 win season for them. We got Chunks second. The Max St. Angelo Warbirds holding strong here, 693 and 117. Look at the sample size here. So 86% win rate on what appears to be, what would that be, 5 or 6 seasons. That's a ton of wins. We've got the team I always mispronounce, but I believe that's Wayzata, not Wayzata. The Brooklyn Cyclones. Wayzata. Oh, gosh, so close. It's not a mispronounced player name, though. Not a mispronounced player name. All right, so this is the all-time win rates. Now let's move to just this season. And as we look at just this season, that Highlanders data point that we saw before is our king of the week. So in a rookie league, they picked up 142 wins, 20 losses. Second best was a name I will not pronounce, as they won 136 games here in stone. We had Taito in silver with 132 wins. And then Taipei Kaiju in bronze. The San Diego Submarines in bronze as well. We had the Arctic Killer Whales in iron. And then as we slide down even further to diamond, we've got some people showing up on diamond. We've got the Race Point Racers at the high watermark for diamond this week. Cartier Cutthroats, Cheeto Cheetahs, Flagstaff 49ers, Dem Bums. So these were our leaders for the week here. As we do a little filtering, why don't we look at just the diamond leagues? And I'll let you guys chew on that for a second. Quavis Gaming saying 115 plus in diamond is impressive, and that's 100% true. 100% true. Even in early meta. I see a lot of teams here that are going to be in the mix in Perfect League. Absolutely. We've got the Roprez Bulls, Vlad News Bears, Fubon Guardians, Ben Salem Man Witches. These are all teams that are going to be in the mix. Let's go to gold. Let's go to gold and we see if we get a Naperville Nomad sighting. And there they are, 104. So Bowling Green Humidity as the top gold team of the week. Sylvania Humidity, number 2. Crozet Storm Kings, 3. And then we'll slide on down the ladder. We'll go to silver. Taito, Providence, Milwaukee Guilt Trip. That's a walnut sighting. And then we'll make our last stop here in stone. No, we'll go to bronze. And then move on. Bronze, we've got the Taipei Kaiju, Data Point, the San Diego Submarines, and the St. Catharines Seagulls. All right. So now let's check league leaders. And so what we're looking at now are the high water mark of any single player on a single team at various categories. So let's start with runs. For runs, our high water mark is a Roy Thomas from the McDonald's Dollar Menu. For a second, I thought it was Ray Kroc. But this is a rookie league setting. You know, I had to redo how I do this sheet here because there were so many teams with the same team name, and I'm looking at you, St. Louis Cardinals, that it was messing up how it was rendering. So I had to squeeze in the level and the league number here into the column heading itself, which makes it a little bit harder to read, but it stops us from getting false positives. But Roy Thomas, I don't know that card. Let's see if we can spot one in the wild. None on the auction house. Let's see if there's one in my league. No Roy Thomas in my league. But a card that did a lot of damage in rookie. Now behind them, we've got a couple Alan Trammels, one in stone, one in rookie. And then Hack Wilson tearing up a rookie league with 143 runs himself. And so one thing to note is there is a profile of player that is kind of custom built to destroy lower leagues. And Hack Wilson fits that mold. Oftentimes we're talking about a player with high power and high I, because the way you destroy those leagues and the way you accumulate perfect points is by overwhelming your opponent's pitching staff through walks and through the long ball. All right, so we move on from runs, and we move to homers. And we had some big ones this week. We had some big ones to note for sure. And we start with a Hack Wilson and rookie at 49, another Hack Wilson and rookie at 48, and then we've got a Stone Hack Wilson right behind him. Look at this Nelson Cruz popping up in rookie at 45. And this is the effect that I was just talking about, guys. So this is a high power, high I card. So even though it's a live card, can still do a ton of damage in those lower leagues. Get those double dinger achievements. Maybe you're getting a 3-homer achievement, a 4-homer achievement. Let's look for our highest Diamond League. Here it is. It's Oscar Charleston popping 37 for the Fubon Guardians. And here's another diamond sighting, a Josh Gibson at 36. So as a catcher, we know that he's probably not accumulating any more than 400 or 450 plate appearances. So popping 36 is really huge there. We've got a 66 overall, popping 37 homers in rookie, a Bud Suchak. Let's see if we can find a Bud Suchak somewhere. Not in my league. There's Bud Suchak. What do you look like, Bud? So heavy power. This is a profile that hit 37 homers in a rookie league. Nick Waddick's live Stanton hit 32 as a backup in rookie. JM Roto asking if I'm using Power BI. Nope, I'm an Excel guy. All right, we move on from homers. And what is next? RBI. And it's going to be dominated by those lower leagues again. We've got Hack Wilson at the very top here, 169. So more than a ribby a game. Very notable there for sure. And then on that same team, the Memphis Razorbacks, they had a Bo Bichette put up 154 ribby. Holy cow. And you know what? I was waving these high numbers off as saying that they were low-level leagues. Well, look at number 5 on this list. We've got a Nomar Garciaparra in Diamond putting up 140. Who, buddy? Jake P. 316 with a good point that someone could be running Gibson as a DH, which is going to goose up those plate appearance numbers versus if he was just a catcher. So we've got Fubon Guardians, Oscar Charleston with a high watermark, or with a high mark here for ribbies as well in the Diamond League, 126. Enos Slaughter for the Flagstaff 49ers in Diamond at 125. Ooh, I like this team name. Los Angeles Struggle Bus in silver, and they're Enos Slaughter with 124. Noma batted 190 for King Butcher after the All-Star break. Not great. Not great, Bob. All right, let's move on to stolen bases. And oh boy, I've got a surprise for you guys here. I've got a surprise for you here. Check this out. We have got a 162 stolen base season in Diamond for Cool Papa Bell. I did not believe this. So the high water mark for stolen bases is normally 140 to 150. So when this came up and it was 162, I said, no way. I got to go confirm this. And so just so you guys know, in case anyone's unfamiliar, you can pop yourself into any one of these leagues. You just click on it. And then something like this is going to pop up. They actually look very different than they looked last year. So formatting different for sure. And look at that. This one's not coming through with the batting stats. But typically down here, you're able to see the outlier performances for given players. And I was able to confirm that Cool Papa Bell did in fact steal 162 for this team in Diamond this week. Taicho says to refresh. Let's see if that works. Reloading, and still didn't come up. That's okay. How many caught stealing? That's a good question. Let's click right into it and find out. So this might look be a little hard to read here for you guys, but we'll blow it up a little bit. Let's find caught stealings here. Might have gone too far. Plate appearances, singles. Here we go. 162 seals and 28 caught stealing for, look at this, a UBR of 7.4, a BSR of 31.8. Holy cow. Holy cow. That is a gigantic season. Just a gigantic season. You know, I pulled Cool Papa Bell on release night for the Negro League collection, and I sold him. And stats like this make me wonder if that was the right move. So besides Cool Papa Bell, we've got Clyde Milan showing up again. Clyde Milan, for anyone new to the stream, he's been a high gold that has been showing up on this view here for weeks on end. So if you want a budget version of Cool Papa Bell, Clyde Milan is where you'd go. We've got an even further budget version of this, Doc Cook, a card that was used at least early on pretty heavily in the bronze tournament meta. He's got 124 steals this week in Iron. Clisherine saying doesn't see any cool Papa Bells in the auction house, so let's see if there's one in my league. And there is. It's on JDA's team, and here's what it looks like. So the batting profile doesn't look too dissimilar to Willie Wells, which I showed you guys earlier. And it's just this base running profile is where the magic comes from. You've got 117 speed, 109 stolen bases, 95 base running. The bunting prowess, which for a player like Cool Papa Bell matters more than, say, another one. But, as the pitching gets tougher, Cool Papa Bell can steal some base hits with bunts. And then in addition to all that, the defense is really great. Better in right field than he is in center, but it's definitely playable in center as well. Yeah, Jay Modenhall saying his bat's kind of blah. And yeah, this is not a bat that's going to last this game cycle. It's not a bat right now that's probably one of the starting options. But at this point in the game cycle, if you're able to get 31 BSR out of Cool Papa Bell, maybe you accept whatever bat R you're getting to go alongside the great defense. We'll see if he's popping up towards the top of the WAR numbers. Maybe the Berlin Blue Crab Cool Papa will be there. Wainham asking what position he plays. So center field, right field is where you'd want to put him. Let's move on from stolen bases and go to WAR. WAR leaders for the week. Does someone break 10? They do. They break it handily. We've got 4 of them. We've got Alan Trammell in rookie for the New York Highlanders at 11-1. We've got 2 Barry Larkins over 10. 2 of them. Barry Larkin is someone who has flashed on this stream more than a couple times. No Larkins for me to show you one, but we've got one in iron popping an 11 number, and then we've got one in gold at 10.5. We've got Joe A 1010 in the chat saying he's got a Larkin at 10-0 in silver. Port Dog has Jackie at 9.4 for him in 357. All right, so who else is popping up here? We've got a rookie Hack Wilson over 10. So again, Hack Wilson at this point in time probably best deployed in those lower leagues to help you generate some perfect points. Jackie Robinson at 10 for the St. Louis Cardinals in D360. We've got some Alan Trammell here, Oscar Charleston, another Larkin sighting. As we just focus in on the diamond players, we've got Jackie. Here's Larkin. And Larkin. So that is WAR. Now let's look for batting champion of the week. Who led all of our leagues in batting average? And it's Pop Lloyd. No! Don't do it to me, Pop. And not only is it Pop Lloyd, it's not just any Pop Lloyd, it's the Milwaukee Guilt Trip Pop Lloyd, owned by Walnut. I wouldn't put it past him to have falsified this number here. But Pop Lloyd batting 366 for the Milwaukee Guilt Trip in 546 plate appearances in a Silver League. After Pop Lloyd, we've got a Stone Moises Alou at 364. And Iron Alan Trammell at 360. Now let's look for some high-level guys. We've got a Diamond Enos Slaughter at 355. Holy cow. That's in Diamond, guys. That is not to be trifled with. Look at Enos Slaughter here. You see versus right. That profile is really strong. He's a good defender, too. Enos is definitely a very good player. Only 28,000 perfect points as well. So moving on, other diamond guys showing up here. We've got the Cheeto Cheetahs, Jackie Robinson at 353. Chicken Wolf, new card that dropped last week. I don't know that we'll find one. There's Ross Chicken Stripling. That's not what we're looking for. No, but Chicken Wolf was part of the Scavenger Hunt series that dropped. And for the Cartier Cutthroats in Diamond 360, put up a 350 season. Very strong. We've got a Jackie here. Any other Diamond ones of note? Another Jackie, Oscar Charleston for the Fubon Guardians, who he said hit all season until the playoffs. And that is batting average. Let's go to on-base percentage. All right, we start with a rookie Hack Wilson. And from there, we've got some very rare data. We've got John McGraw. One of the most highly sought, if not the most highly sought tournament special edition cards out there. If you're looking for a card tourney to join and John McGraw's in it, that might be the one for you. John McGraw, a very, very deadly hitter. And you see him showing up here in Diamond with a 446 on base percentage for the Flagstaff 49ers. There aren't a ton of those McGraws floating out there. And the ones that do find their way to the auction house do not come cheap. After McGraw, we've got Jackie Robinson for the Cheeto Cheetahs, also in Diamond. We've got another Jackie down here, St. Louis Cardinals, also in Diamond. And then another Jackie for the South Shore Railcats in Diamond. So odds are, if you're in Diamond and you're looking at the on-base percentage leaderboard, you're going to see Jackie Robinson all over it. Let's go to slugging. .702. So the Hack Wilson that has been leading just about every category so far, that rookie Hack Wilson for the Memphis Razorbacks takes this one as well. .702 on the slug in a rookie league. And behind him, we've got a couple other Hack Wilsons as well. One in Stone, one in rookie. But again, we need to contextualize what we're seeing here. We're not seeing Hack Wilsons in Diamond at the top of this leaderboard. We're seeing Hack Wilsons down low. In Diamond, we're seeing different players surface. We're seeing Oscar Charleston. We're seeing Enos Slaughter. Yeah, Bo Bichette sighting here. And as we target our Diamond players only, we've got an Oscar Charleston here and Enos Slaughter. And then a Jackie Robinson way down. And so we'll close out our weekly leaders here with OPS now. And that same Hack Wilson's going to take the cake here. Two Hack Wilsons behind it. We've got a new one showing up here. A Chicago Old Timers Hack Wilson at 1.076. Our highest Diamond card coming in with just over 1.0 is the Enos Slaughter for the LaSalle Peru Black Widows in Diamond 355. Just ahead of and edging out the Oscar Charleston for the Fubon Guardians. Hack Wilson is this year's Chuck Klein, says Caprine Assassin. I don't think you're wrong in that. All right. So it is time now for some requests. We're going to move into global players in just a second here, but I'll take the next 15 or so requests for hitters. Now make sure you give me the player card number. I'm sure you guys are already furiously in the chat. Make sure you give me the player card number, and we'll pop around and see how that player is doing. 80 Sean Murphy. We will start there. And so what you guys are looking at on your screen here is all the data that we have combined. It's all the data that we've got combined. Yep. And it's all the leagues and it's all the years. And so what we track is how this player has done as they've risen up the ladder. And by that, I mean as they've gone from lower level leagues to high level leagues. And we also look at it from a week-to-week perspective. All right, so we've got our first one in there, 80 Sean Murphy. Let's go 98 Gorman Thomas. Here's 98 Gorman Thomas, a pretty steep decline up at the higher levels. We're seeing gold under 700. We're seeing diamond under 650. That is not what you want to see here for this high diamond card, Gorman Thomas. Nick Madrigal, 85 Nick Madrigal. So the one thing I'll say about Nick Madrigal is that we're looking at OPS here. And OPS is not going to be his best trait. You know, he's an average guy. He's someone who's going to hit 300 plus wherever he is. And his slugging is going to get lower and lower as he rises up the ladder. So even though the diamond OPS here is 709, that's probably a triple slash that looks something like 310 average, 350 on base percentage, maybe 360 slug, which for someone who can play decent defense up the middle and back up shortstop, albeit not a great backup, but decent defense backing up, that's still playable. So we do see the OPS coming down here, but I still find this to be an acceptable player, even at the highest level. 98 Sox Siebold. This is normally where I get a lot of mispronunciations in. Where are you, Sox? There he is. All right, Sox Siebold. Now we're seeing a pretty classic decline on the top chart here, scaling down from 904 in stone to 697 in diamond. And then down on the lower chart here, we're seeing him kind of level off around that 750 OPS point. Martin Digo, 100. Let's see what that looks like. If we've got any data. We do. All right, I'm guessing this is somewhat small sample size. This is a packable 100. So those are in shorter supply than other cards that we have here. But what we do have for Martin is that of about a league average bat, I'd say. So 2025 and 2026, we're looking at about 730, 740. So not someone who's hitting a ton. 92 Tim Anderson. There's your Tim Anderson data here. Scales down to 627 in diamond, 628 in gold. 97 Adrian Gonzalez. Is he 99? I feel like he might be 99. There he is. Adrian Gonzalez, so at the very highest level, 735. Degrading from a 764 in gold, and then from a year perspective, pretty flat performances. So started out at 804 in 2022 and still at 767. So it looks to be a pretty viable bat. Left-handed bat playing first base or DH. 96 Kid Elberfeld. Here we go. We'll do about 5 more of these. So we've got Kid hanging out in that low 700s, 700 to 750. Up in diamond at 714. So not doing horribly. 100 Ian Kinsler. Another card that I pulled and sold. Here's Kinsler. So we've got some diamond data that doesn't love Kinsler here, down under 700. Now he's a good defender at second base and someone who you can likely overclock the global average by platooning intentionally. So Kinsler is someone with a very solid versus left bat profile. So you could likely be closer to 750 in diamond with Kinsler if you limited his plate appearances to those that that favored him. Now, it's interesting little ski slope action on this lower chart, as we see he rebounded from a down 2025 to have a pretty solid 2026. 100 JT Realmuto, which is actually the very next one on my list here. So as Excel stops hiccuping, we should see some Realmuto data, and we do. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. 586 in diamond, 632 in gold for a catcher that isn't one of the elite defensive catchers. So not great here. 93 Wally Pipp. Here's Wally Pipp. Not a ton of data. 95 Pete Rose. And if I don't get to your card today, guys, just DM me. I'm happy to flip these charts to you on an as-needed basis. Now, my DMs can get backed up, so if it doesn't happen right away, don't hold that against me. But odds are I'm likely not to get to yours here in the chat, so just come to me directly. I'll be happy to help you out. 94 Heilman, there he is. Ooh, 794 in diamond. I like what I see here. Now, Harry Heilman is a DH only. So not someone who you can really hide in an outfield corner, or you shouldn't. But someone who's really going to tear it up versus left-hand pitching and hold his own versus right. Miller Huggins, 100. Here's Miller Huggins for you. We see the gold and diamond data basically mirroring one another here at 718 and 721. And then we'll close out with Frankie Frisch, 100. Here's Frankie Frisch. We see 747 on his diamond OPS here. Pretty strong. 719 gold suggests that maybe that's a bit of an outlier. Maybe that could come down some. But pretty strong performance here for Frisch. All right, I'm going to catch up on the chat. Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll. You're ready to rock and roll. So let's look at some global numbers. So we just looked at individual copies of cards, right, guys? We just looked at individual copies and saw the league leaders in rookie and gold and diamond. And now let's roll all that data up, because we don't want to focus on outliers to make our decisions. We want to look at all of these players and contextualize that against the players, or the levels that they achieve this performance in, and use that as the basis to determine which cards have staying power, which cards we should be targeting, and which ones we should let others grab in the auction house. All right, so let us go position by position as we always do. And today, because we have an abundance of diamond data, because we have an abundance of gold data, I am going to limit our filter to those two leagues themselves. So for the purposes of this exercise, we will leave that lower level data so as to not provide noise and confusion to the assertions that we bring up from this exploration. All right, let's go catcher. So at catcher, we've got 2 bats over league average. And so we are sorting this by bat R, which is a stat category for batting runs, which isolates player performance to just what happens when they're in the batter's box. It takes out base running, it takes out defense. And the reason we focus on this stat is because of the Perfect League World Series stream that we do. So when we are breaking down individual matchups, we are looking at a pitcher versus a hitter. And we are saying how likely is it that this hitter will be successful versus this pitcher, and vice versa. And so we isolated this stat all last year. We'll do the same this year as we're looking at those matchups. And as we're looking at this data here, this will isolate who the best hitting catchers are, and same for each position that we look at. Jay Modenhall asking about 100 Campy. Nope, no data it looks like. Okay, so when bat R goes negative, what does it mean? It means that someone is a below league average bat. Which for catcher is not a disaster. Because are you asking your catcher to be your 4-hitter? Not normally. Are you asking them to carry the weight of your offensive production? Not typically. So if you can have a catcher that doesn't completely undermine your offense, but give you good defensive value, help your pitchers get those extra outs, throw out would-be base stealers, that's good enough. But you do have two catchers here who provide more than that, and that's Josh Gibson and Ernie Lombardi. Josh Gibson here with a power-driven profile. Now, you look at Gibson's card, and that's not going to be a surprise that he's a power-driven profile. I mean, look at this beast right here. We've got versus right power at 135 versus left power at 144. So that's always going to be his calling card. And you see it with a position best 478 slug. After Gibson and Lombardi, you've got tournament special edition card Smokey Burgess. You've got Tim McCarver. So Tim McCarver here is slightly below league average on the bat, but a huge but here. And that huge but is that Tim McCarver is elite defensively. Tim Carver is going to help your pitchers more than everyone above him on this list. Jonathan Lew Croy, we saw him do very well in my Gold League. You see that the global numbers here for Gold and Diamond have him a whole lot worse than what I experienced, which was a 330 average, a 388 OBP. Yadier Molina, Yogi Berra. So as we look at some budget guys, so who are some gold and below cards that might be able to help you out? Paul LaDuca is one that I rocked early on in this stream. We've got the Cleveland live catchers who are both just disastrous with the bat, as you see them down at the bottom of this list, but both will be huge assets to your pitchers. So you can consider those guys. You got Kybert Ruiz, worthy of consideration as well. If you're building Jackie and you want to get a great glove back there, Biz Mackey fits the bill for that. Sherm Lawler was a guy that I rocked for a couple weeks as well. Clasherine asking if catcher defensive ratings play into pitcher performance at all in terms of strikeouts, and yes, they do. Yes, they do. So you will see the better defensive catchers end with a better catcher ERA. And how they're getting there is they're getting slightly more strikeouts, slightly less walks, slightly less home runs. All right, so we move on from catcher. Actually, before we do, what we like to do is we do kind of a burn down of card tier. So we'll look and see if there are any bronze catchers being used. There are not. Are there any silver catchers being used? We've got the Cleveland Twins, Roberto Perez and Austin Hedges, both of them with just horrendous batting lines here. What is this OPS? So for Perez, it's 491. For Hedges, it's 477. Hey, Pidge, I haven't fully jumped onto K-Bill Voodoo, Cia Bill Voodoo, whatever you want to short that as. I still believe in getting a guy who all things considered is producing for you. So I take into account both the bat production and the catcher ability and catcher arm. And so I'm not fully onto the Perez and Hedges bandwagon. All right, we move to gold. We've got LaDuca, Ruiz, Mackey, and Salvador Perez. And then at diamond, we've got this group of characters here. I'm getting booed heavily in the chat. Booed heavily. I appreciate it. All right, let's move on from catcher to first base. And at first base, this is a position of need for the Nomads. I've got Nomar there, and I'm fine with him. He can back up third. He can back up short. That's all very functionally great. But he's not someone at a position that typically carries your offense that does that. We're looking at only 4 on the bat R for Nomar here. But it's a position that doesn't have a ton of standout hitters. We've got Joe Kelly at the top of the sugar pile, only at 14.55. Behind him, we've got a couple of perfect cards, Orlando Cepeda and Eddie Murray. But for my money, for first baseman, I want to see a bat R over 10, and neither of these guys deliver. Travis Hafner, 95 after Murray. We've got the Adrian Gonzalez that came up earlier, just beneath Nomar. We got a Ripper Collins, which is off used down here. So first base is a position where I could see some power creep coming, and frankly, a position where power creep is welcome at this point in time. Now, Joe Kelly was one of our early drops, but as we look at the launch cards, which is basically everything beneath here, we don't have very heavy performers. So we'll have to see what comes out of the next content set, whether it's the Build a Legend perfect cards or it's something else. I'm looking for a first baseman to really belong into this picture. Ochoa is pimping up Mark Grace's 140 OPS. I like that. Bill Terry looks good down here. Bill Terry is love. Bill Terry is life. I like that. All right, so let's go tier by tier. So iron, no one's playing. Iron, first baseman. Bronze, same. Silver, no silvers. How about gold? This is where you get Mark Grace actually doing a decent job over league average in gold and diamond. I like that. Judea with a good point that you can use Al Rosen at first. I think that's probably as compelling as using Josh Kelly at this point in time. So move up from gold to diamond, and in diamond we've got these characters: Kelly, Hafner, Garcia Parra, Gonzo, and then the Build a Legend Helton. And then at the very top, we've got Cepeda, Murray, and Bellinger. Let's go to second base. And no shocker here, for the second or third week in a row, Jackie Robinson running away with this one. 23 on the bat R. So we looked at first base, and the leader was at 15, and second place was at, 6? And here at second base, we basically got a much more offensive position, a much more offensive meta. So Jackie Robinson 1, Bid McPhee number 2 here, Larry Doyle 3, Kid Elberfeld 4, Tony Lazzeri 5. Dan Brothers asking about Carlos Baerga, and I don't see Baerga here. I don't see him at all. Oh wait, is that him down here? Here he is. 95 Carlos Baerga in 8,000 plate appearances, -10 on the bat R. All right, let's go tier by tier. So we'll start with bronze. None. Silver. We've got 1. We've got Luis Arias. Luis Arias still turning in a decent batting average. An acceptable OBP. Maybe a little bit low on the slug here. But for a 71 live card, someone who can fill up a position, play some defense for you. We move on to gold. We've got Madrigal at the top here with his -1 bat R. So again, this is that effect I was talking about earlier. So Madrigal is a heavy average profile. You know, his batting average is OBP. That's what's going to drive his value, his ability to play second base. The slugging is going to come down, especially in those higher leagues. We see that here. 377 on the slug. I think I had hypothesized that it would be 350 OBP, 360 on the slug. A little bit off there. But Madrigal, for what he can bring to you and how you can use that average. So again, OPS is not the end-all, be-all. For your different lineup spots, there are different triple/slash profiles that add value for you. And there's a place where you can put a guy with a 290 average and have him really deliver some value for you. Yeah, Minerva, if you've got someone who's beneath the plate appearance threshold, they won't show up. And at this point in time, we're using a 1,500 plate appearance threshold. So if you've got someone who had an incredible 650 plate appearance season, but they're the only one in the data set, they won't meet that threshold to be shown here on the stream. All right, we move up from gold second baseman to diamond second baseman. Larry Doyle at the top, Kid Elberfeld second, Jack Crooks third. And then it drops off into the negative realm. And then perfect, we've got Jackie at the top, Bid McPhee, Tony Lazzeri, and Miller Huggins. All right, let's go to shortstop. Shortstop, we've got Jackie at the top of this pile too. And behind him, we've got Alan Trammell. With so many plate appearances, what is that short for? That's short for 128,000 plate appearances of Alan Trammell at 11 on the bat R. So someone's still getting it done at high-level leagues is Trammell. Now we've got Barry Larkin behind Trammell, but let's remember that Larkin was really flashing on the WAR numbers. So let's slide over a little bit here. And as we compare the WAR of these shortstops, we actually have Barry Larkin outperforming Jackie Robinson. So that's very interesting in our shortstop data there. After Larkin, we've got Furcal, we've got Noma, Phil Rizzuto, and then we go negative. Fire Red JP with a good point that Larkin adding value with his defense and base stealing. Pop Lloyd, oh, shocker. Big time shocker. Pop Lloyd, -4 on the bat R. Whale King likes him at shortstop. You won't catch him on the Nomads, though. You won't catch him on the Nomads. Here's my Willie Wells. So Willie Wells and Pop Lloyd, comparing the two is kind of interesting to me. Now, Pop Lloyd's going to cost you a lot more money, but they're going to turn in some pretty similar production. Mark Belanger at the top, where he ended PT20, or at the bottom, excuse me, where he ended PT21. So that is shortstop. Let's go tier by tier. No silvers. No golds. Interesting to note, no golds are playing in diamond and gold level. So this might tell you, if you're a budget team, you're working your way up, you're trying to climb the ladder as far as you can with lower level cards, at shortstop, you're going to need a diamond or a perfect card. So plan accordingly. And that diamond could very well be this Noma. So at the diamond level, we've got Furcal, Garciaparra, Rizzuto, and then perfect-wise, we've got Jackie Robinson, Alan Trammell, and then Barry Larkin. All right, perfect. We move on to third base. We should see Al Rosen here, and we do. You know, Al Rosen, a card that used to be part of the Nomads, is no longer. And part of the reason is that the batting just isn't keeping up. Like, Rosen was destroying lower-level leagues, and he's just not destroying anymore. We're going to take an unplanned visit to this view here, and we're going to look at Al Rosen. So we see him cooking at 752 in diamond, so perhaps it's better than I'm making it out to be right now. But someone was referencing him playing first base for them, and again, first base, I really want 800 OPS. I want 800. I want someone who's really driving from the heart of my lineup, and it doesn't look like Rosen's that guy. All right, what do we have here? We have Adrian Beltray at the top. I was not expecting this. Now, Adrian Beltray is my guy. He is who I've had at third base. He is who took the place of Al Rosen. Now, defensively, he's not going to win Gold Gloves. He's just not. But offensively, he's doing a good job. Let's compare the WAR number of Beltray and Rosen. So WAR, Beltray at 2.3, Rosen at 1.95. So in this data set, which is 6,000 plate appearances for Beltray and 7,000 plate appearances of Rosen, Beltray's got his number. After Beltray, we have Richie Hebner, left-handed bat. Eddie Matthews, a 100 card. And then Lave Cross. Jadeo asking if Beltray can play first. I believe the answer would be no. Not trainable, but we've seen T-Chalk do weird things, like play anyone at first. All right, let's go tier by tier. Iron third baseman's none. Bronze, none. Silver, none. Gold, we've got 2 gold cards. We've got Austin Martin, a very popular future legend card, and then Minnie Minoso, part of the live collection series. And we've got Minnie Minoso right at league average with his bat. And then jumping up to Diamond, we've got all the guys that we've been talking about. And then from a perfect perspective, we've got Eddie Matthews leading the charge from a bat perspective. Yeah, where's Terry Pendleton? Here he is, -2 on the bat. I think you can do better. All right, let's go to corner outfield. We're going to combine left field and right field together and see what we see. So Clashreen asking how you train players. Okay, so not everyone can train. This is something different than PT21, so I need to make sure I explain this well. Not everyone can train, but how you train someone is you just play them at a position that they're qualified to learn, that they're qualified to get better at. And the way you learn that, the way you learn which positions are eligible for that, is right here on the player card section. So we see that this Mike Trout live card is qualified to learn left, he's qualified to learn right, and qualified to learn first base. So if I were to play him at those positions over the course of time, he would increase his efficacy at that position, and he would increase his position rating. So his left field position rating is already 61, and this being here tells me that it can go higher than 61. Same thing for this 23 in right. And then given that it says he's qualified to learn first base, if I played him there, then you would see first base show up in this position rating section. All right, perfect. Back to business here. Corner outfield bats. And at the very top, we have Oscar Charleston. We know he's an incredible defender in center field. He's also producing a ton with the bat here in this data set. We've got Joe Kelly behind him, who was our leader at first base. We've got Enos Slaughter, who turned in some big performances in Diamond Leagues this week. Now, Harry Heilman making his first appearance in this data with some full week performance here. We see him at 14. So very strong number there for Harry Heilman. Again, his defense is so bad, you're likely to want to DH him. Let me show you what I talk about. So here's that's not the right Heilman, that's the gold one. Here's the diamond. All right, so what you get excited about with Heilman is this right here. It's this versus left profile, 105 contact, scaling down, 94 power, 104 avoid K. That's going to hurt a lot of left-handed pitchers. But this defense, only 35 range and only eligible in right field. Not someone you want out there. But if you've got room on your team for a DH, Harry Heilman could be your guy. His nickname is Slug. I like that. All right. Perfect. We move on. We got Mike Trout. Mike Trout still showing well in the data. Now it's a matter of time before Mike Trout is outside the meta firmly. But for now, you can still rock your Mike Trout. We see that his power-heavy, eye-heavy profile with decent defense still getting it done here in the corner outfield. Where do I have Trout? Do I have him in the corner? I do. So I've got Mike Trout starting in left field for me. Ooh, look at that. This is a nice little flash up here. Makes me look like I know what I'm talking about. Makes me feel good about myself. Hey, DRC won a tournament. He's not entirely full of it. Although I will say that any old team can win a tournament. So let's not go too far with the assertions. All right, yeah, so Mike Trout's in my left field. I feel pretty good with him there. He didn't have the greatest season this week or last. And so the Mike Trout experience, you're getting a really low average. And that's exactly what I saw here. You do get a strong on-base percentage. You get a ton of walks. And typically some pretty good defense. All right. So we move on and we go tier by tier now. We do see a Heavy Johnson sighting down here. We've got Hack Wilson. So we talked a lot earlier about Hack Wilson just destroying rookie-level leagues, and that's all true, fine and good. But once you get to the top-level league, Hack Wilson is, as much as it pains me to say it, Kidneys was right. Hack Wilson is not meta for your corner outfield. He will not have to shave his head. All right, let's go tier by tier. We start with silver. We've got none of them. Gold. We've got Heavy as the best gold corner outfielder with Ty Cobb behind him. Moises Alou behind him. Yuka asking if she's missed any mispronunciations. I feel like there's probably been at least one. I haven't been openly called out for it. So let me know if I need to update the ticker. You guys are so active in the chat, sometimes I miss it. But I feel like I'm doing okay. Bump up to Diamond. We've got Joe Kelly, Harry Heilman, and then Hack Wilson. Here's that Chicken Wolf that got a lot of discussion earlier in the stream. And then Chick Hafey, and then we go negative. From a perfect card perspective, here's what we see. David Justice, an early Nomad card. Kind of far down the list. All right, let's go to center field. Let us go to center field. And look at this. Number 1 in center field from a bat value perspective is Mike Trout live, edging out Oscar Charleston with absolutely gigantic sample sizes here. So Mike Trout, 17,000 plate appearances. Oscar Charleston, 25,000. And Trout didn't beat him by a little. He beat him by a lot. That's 4 different batting runs. 4 batting runs delta there. Let's look at the WAR comparison. Okay, important to note. So Oscar Charleston, despite getting beaten on bat value, is a higher WAR player than Mike Trout. He's at 4.17 per 600 plate appearances, whereas Mike Trout at 3.4. Yeah, Ludwig 83 hitting the nail on the head there. Defense at center, though. Center field, definitely a position where we want defense, and Charleston going to be a lot better than Trout there. Even Ned Hanlon, even though his bat R is 8 runs less than Trout, better WAR than him. Ginger Beaumont, one of my early cards, showing up here in the top 5. You know, this Torriente, it's a small sample, so I don't want to get too crazy with it, but I would have expected better. I would have expected better bat performance than this 279, 345, 417 triple slash we see over 1,600 plate appearances. Cool Papa's WAR. Where's my Cool Papa Bell? Where did he go? Here he is. Whoopsies. Cool Papa. 3.99 on the WAR, which puts him 3rd. Puts him behind Hanlon, Charleston. All right, let's go tier by tier. No silver center fielders. For that matter, no bronze. And then gold-wise, we've got Leody Taveras, Clyde Milan. Now, Clyde Milan was the guy that we saw earlier stealing a bunch of bases. Now, the important part to steal bases, though, is to get on base. And we see that as Clyde Milan has climbed the ladder here, his on-base percentage has suffered. And so his chances to steal bases will suffer along with it. So might be a lower level only card at this point. Let's go to Diamond. We see Hack Wilson at the top here, but we know defensively he's not all that. Oh, here's the Cesar Tovar special edition data. That's fun to see. We got 3,000 plate appearances of that, and it's producing an average heavy profile. Let's see how the WAR number looks. 3.11, not bad. How much is Ginger going for? I would guess 30, 35. All right, so these are our these are our hitters. And let's kill all the filters here and look at it all together. So across Diamond and Gold leagues, we've got Jackie as the number 1 bat in all of Perfect Team. Behind him is Joe Kelly, who we saw leading both in corner outfield and at first base. We got Mike Trout 3rd. So even though defensively he's not up to snuff in center field, he is performing well in the corners. Pidge made the point that these low-stuff pitchers are what's keeping him relevant for the time being, and that likely is not a permanent condition. So keep an eye on that as we see pitcher power creep go the way of having more stuff, maybe less movement. We could see Mike Trout fade to black rather quickly. Enos Slaughter 4, Harry Heilman 5, Bid McPhee 6. All right, so that is hitters. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so we'll go a little bit faster here with pitchers. But first, we'll look at starting pitchers. We've got Satchel Paige as our pitcher of the week. He edges out Cy Young by 12 points here. So 3.27 on the ERA for Satchel, 3.39 for Cy Young. Both have huge samples. Satchel Paige, 15,000 innings pitched. Cy Young, 78,000. Look who's third, though. It's Jeff Tesreau, special edition card. I couldn't tell you what this card looks like. And neither could my league. Let's see if neither can the auction house. Given that it's Attorney Special Edition, I'm guessing that we won't get eyes on it. Yeah, nothing to show you there, but 3.52 on the ERA. Comes in at third place, although it's kind of bunched up here. We have Greg Maddux fourth, Burley Grimes fifth, Max Lanier 3.66 comes in right behind him. Charlie Buffington, Icebox Chamberlain, Red Errett, Hugh Bedient. You know, Hugh is a card that we've seen a couple different times now. Let me make sure we're on the right year. We are 2026. Now, it's a small sample, only 200 innings. But interesting that this card keeps showing up every week. In the auction house now for $25K. The last 10 value only at 11,256. Kind of looks Irv Youngy. Behind Hugh Bedient, we've got Roy Oswalt, Hooks Douse, Steve Rogers, Fred Toney, Johnny Padres, another tournament, SE, Mel Harder, and Bob Carruthers. All right, what starting pitchers do you guys want to take a look at that's not on your screen? We can pop around a little bit. Smokey Joe. Let's see if we've got a Smokey. We do not. Jack Kramer. Jack Kramer, 4.34 on the ERA. Silver King, 4.05. Diamond Musina, 4.40. Darryl Kyle, 4.31. Lefty Gomez, 5.31. Yuck. Clay Buchholz, there's no way there's going to be enough Clay data yet. We'll check anyway. Yep. Brickyard, 5.20 for Brickyard Kennedy. Adonis Terry, not enough data. Doc Ayers, 4.11. Cy Falkenberg, not enough data. You guys are going too fast for me now. Bridges, Tommy Bridges at 4.63. Diamond Guidry. Guidry at 5.04. Cummings. Candy Cummings at 4.19. Chapman we'll get to when we get to closers. Roger Clemens, 4.25. Someone asked for a Jeffries. I'm not sure which Jeffries, but I don't have one. Red Faber. Nothing to show you. McGinnity. Joe McGinnity, 4.70. Jim Scott. No Jim Scott. Orth. Al Orth at 4.73. Matlack's a guy in my rotation. So let's see how my guys are doing. Let's get a little selfish with it here for a second. John Matlack, 4.82. That is not great. That's not what I signed up for. And then how about Harry Howell? Let's see if he's gone downhill a little bit too. Harry Howell, 4.06. That's a little bit better. What about Jake Arrieta, 4.48? So there's some improvement that we can do in the Nomad rotation. It just looks like to get that improvement, I need to wade into the perfect card realm. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Maybe this Steve Rogers, which I know I own, can be a nice little gap fill. Maybe this Mel Harder. Maybe I get into the Bob Carruthers world. Yeah, I don't have Dalton Jeffries, so I can't show you guys that. All right, I'll show you Belcher, and then we'll move on to the bullpen. No Belcher. So now we move on to relievers. Who are our best relievers? And for the first time in 4 weeks, it's not Bill Campbell. Best reliever this week is Red Arrett. A perfect card. Might be one difficult to take a peek at right now. But 264 on the ERA and 300 relief innings. I must have misspelled Jeffries. I was probably spelling it like Craig Jeffries instead of Dalton Jeffries. We've got Al Orth, number 2, Doc Ayers, 3, Bill Campbell showing up here at 4. Huge sample on him. I'd still bet money on him being the best guy over a longer sample of time. Bobby Parnell, the tournament SC, being 5th. Doc White, 6th. Bob Locker, that guy that I picked up and told you guys all about earlier today. So Bob Locker had an incredible season for me, as you'll see here with that 170 ERA and 63 innings pitched. It's a card that's got a pretty juicy L10 sales average for a low diamond at 25K, but a card that I don't regret picking up one bit. Roberto Osuna, Fred Toney. We've got a Mark Eichhorn here. What is that? We've got one in league, and it's that high movement profile. Kind of splitty here. I think there's a sneeze coming on. I'm trying to hold it at bay. I don't know if I will. Okay, I think we got through it. Yeah, Thought Serial saying the samples are small, and they are. The samples are small, but in the spirit of not missing guys, because think about it, like for us to have any pitcher show up and get above a 200 inning threshold, we're going to need that pitcher to have been on 4 teams minimum. And so I err on the side of overexposure and false positives to get these bullpen guys into the game versus putting the inning threshold at 1,000 and then really just having the hardcore meta guys. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not seeing Joe Nathan here either. Let's find him. Where are you at, Joe? 382 on the ERA. I don't love that. Oh, that's Gold Joe. And Diamond Joe, even worse, at 402. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. I've got him as my closer, and maybe that needs to change. Diamond Joe worse than Gold Joe in this sample. All right, what relievers do you want to see that were not on this list? Reardon. Jeff Reardon, 359, doing so with a really low whip. That could suggest that it was an outlier performance with the ERA. Maybe he can do better than that next week. Garber. Gene Garber, 428. Brian Wilson. Not enough data. Araldis, 425. Presley, 408. Hal Haid, 381. Love that. Edwin Diaz, 490. Karinchak, 536. Yuck. Diamond Casimir. Let's see if we've got enough data. And we do. 574. Yuck. Horrible. Sung Hwan Oh. Not enough data. Hod Lisenby. Not enough data. How about Hendricks? Liam Hendricks, 444. Dylan Betances. Not enough data. Larry Anderson. Nick Anderson. No Larry Anderson. How about Orber Moreno? Orber at 433. Cecil. Not enough data. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So we'll flash up the data again. What I'll do is I'll kill the filter for starter and reliever and just show you all pitchers together. In so doing, we see Bill Campbell actually jump to the top of the list. So it's possible that someone had Bill Campbell listed as a starter or otherwise, but we see him jump to the top of this list. 297. Bobby Parnell goes to number 2. Ozuna 3. The first starter showing up here, Satchel Paige, and then Cy Young. All right, so we've got 25 minutes here to the top of the hour, so we will close out this stream the way that we close out every Practice Makes Perfect League, and we will draft a perfect team based on the data that we have here. Now let's see if there's any good ones in the daily perfect draft category. Cecil Fielder, Buck Herzog, Adam Eaton. All right, we'll just take a quick then. We'll just take a quick see. We'll go best of 7 here and win 5,000 perfect points. Thanks, JM Roto. Says it's his first time to the stream, but won't be the last. Glad to hear you guys are enjoying the data. All right, now let's draft a winning team. I will disclose, ladies and gentlemen, I will disclose that as a stream, we are currently 0 for the century. And so what I'm doing tonight is I am not picking any of these cards. I'm not picking any of them because in weeks past, I get your guys' opinion and then I go with DRC's gut. But tonight, this is going to be your team. So be loud, be proud in the chat, and tell me who I need to be picking. So I see some Torriente, someone saying Peckinpah, Enos, Chet Lemon. It's harder when we don't have a consensus. My gut would probably whittle this down to Torriente. It'd probably be Torriente, wouldn't it? Now, we know Torriente didn't hit a ton. So as we look at our best bats here, in center field, Torriente was only 4, whereas Enos Slaughter was the 14. So Slaughter's the bigger bat. But I'm going with whatever you guys say. I'm seeing more Torriente in the chat than anything, and we're going with it. All right, here's some new cards for you guys to chew on. And remember, guys, remember who we just saw at the top of this list, tied for the best ERA in all of Perfect Team? It's Bobby Parnell. But again, I'm standing back. You guys are picking these teams. Ooh, this Carson Kelly was cool on the stream the other night as like a budget Trout, but I don't think at this point in the draft. Parnell, Kelly, Parnell. Snuffy Sternveiss. Yuck, look at that batting profile. That is gross. Good base runner. We got a call for Chick. A lot of Sternveiss in the chat. Bobby, Snuffy, Hafey, Kelly. Man. I feel like I'm seeing mostly Snuffy or Parnell in the chat. T-Chuck wants Chapman. All right, we'll go Parnell. We'll do it. All right, next round. What do we have? We've got Liam Hendricks. We just looked at his reliever data. Wasn't great. Greenfield's not a name that we've ever seen on the stream before that I haven't noticed. Jared Kelnick. Got that one right. That one was almost our first mispronounced name. We've got Yuka with probably some interesting facts about Bert Gallia. Ooh, okay. We got people going for it. Okay. I'm seeing enough Gallia. Let's go for it. Torriente can play right. Yes, that's correct. It goes a lot faster when you guys do the picking, too. It takes me forever. All right, what do we have popping out on this gold screen here? I'm not seeing golds that are must plays. Bill Holland is a low stuff starter. Danny Murphy, good base runner, can turn the double play. Adam Dunn. Here you go. You want to budget Mike Trout? Here's Adam Dunn. Can absolutely destroy right-hand pitching. All right, I like Adam Dunn. Dunn and Murphy. I'm down with that. Let's do it. Dunn Murphy it is. You guys are building a winner so far, I can tell. All right, we go round 5. What do we have here in round 5? So the first thing I do is I do a cursory review and say, okay, are there any names here that jump off? And I've heard people pining for them on buy and sell, or I've seen them popping out in my data. So far, not so much on this screen. Berrios and Story, Batista and Berrios. Is Berrios good? I guess he's good in kind of a low movement. I don't know. I don't think that's good really at all. Jose Straw, Berrios. I like that. John Jaha. Not a bad bat. Could play first base or DH. Barrios, says Dr. 10. Yep, I will own that one. That's a mispronounced name. We're on the board. It would have been a travesty if we got through the whole thing without it. Nothing great, so grab the catcher. Now, I might agree with you, but is this really a catcher? I don't think it's a catcher. I think it's a DH, and one that doesn't hit all that much. Story and Jaha. I like Jaha. Story plays a decent defense. Let's see. That's not horrible. I can get behind it. What's the Bautista card look like? Ooh. Maybe we go Bautista. We've seen movement-heavy profiles play really well. Let's do it. Jahan, Batista, and who said to do that? That was Kleshreen. We'll do it. All right, our last gold round here. We need to make some hay. We've got 2 catcher cards to consider. Neither one of them very defensive. Johnny Edwards entering the realm of acceptable, but definitely not exciting. Hello, Justin Turner. What does this card go for? What does this card go for on the auction house? Justin Turner, welcome to the team. All right, let's find who we pair him with. Adam Kennedy might have been the play if we didn't have Danny Murphy. Whale King says, take Turner or we turn off the stream. That's a threat that I will not take lightly. Put Mays in the rotation. Let's see what Mays looks like. Ugh. Low movement and low control and super splitty. That sounds like a death wish. Is Green decent? Let's see. Ooh, he's a pretty good defender. In right field. High eye guy. Platoon bat. It's not horrible. Vic Wertz. Special edition card. I kind of like this profile of the high, 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 low, low. Not a bad bat. Cecil. Everyone's saying Cecil. Oh, I think that's going to be good. If he's not walking someone, then they're not getting a hit. And they're definitely not hitting it over the fence. All right, there's enough Cecil chat. We'll go with it. And now remember, guys, we only have 2 starters, so let's find some starters here. I kind of like Dutch Ulrich. Ulrich or Ulrich? Probably one of those 2. EVC saying I need a starter. So it feels like Dutch is the play. And then who else? Don't have a catcher. Man, we haven't seen a decent defensive one the entire time, have we? This ain't it. Someone saying that Kurt's going to hit here. High power, high eye profile here. Not a great defender. But maybe he's going to hit. Dutch and Pena. Ooh, that's not a bad glove. We do need a shortstop. I mean, needing shortstop and needing potentially center field and catcher. I'm starting to get a little itchy. So I will act on that. Ooh, here's a catcher. Good things come to those who wait. Look at Bruce Petway. No one's stealing on him. He's stealing bases himself. The catcher ability is not what you dream about. But beggars can't be choosers, and we're kind of late in this game. So let's go Petway. I'd love to get a starter, too. Ted Trent doesn't feel like it. Kenta Maeda. High risk with such a low movement. Yuka, you are such a catcher snob. Are we really calling 65 catcher ability pitiful? Pitiful? Man. Check Judd Wilson. So Judd Wilson can play everywhere. And he's actually going to hit pretty well. I like this. He could start in left. Do we have a third baseman? Yeah, we've got Justin Turner. Let's see this Heilman card. Yeah, it's not nearly as exciting as his diamond, understandably so. But this one can actually play a lot of positions. Can Dunn play right? Adam Dunn can play right. I should put that in air quotes. He can play right. All right, what do we want to do here? These are tough decisions. Tough decisions. I like Judd Wilson. You know, Arias gives us that same flexibility. Second, third, short, left. I don't know, it's just so empty. It's just batting average. I think Judd Wilson is a more fun card, so I'm going Judd Wilson. All right, we still need two starters. We need a bullpen. And then from a position perspective, we could really use an elite defensive center fielder. We could use another catcher. Let's see what we have afforded to us here. So Dustin Hermanson's a low move guy. Bobby Jones. Ooh, I think this Bobby Jones is the play. Look at this, guys. High movement. You know, given that this is a best of 7, maybe we double up on the pitchers. Maybe we go something like Bobby Jones, Lloyd Brown. What do you guys think? Just so that we don't have to have a bronze starting pitcher? Here's Cisco Carlos. Kind of deficient compared to the other option. All right, let's do it. Lloyd Brown, Bobby Jones. And now the rotation is set. Brown has that move. Go that movement. All right, so we know we're looking for defense and center. Now, we could settle on Torriente being our center fielder. You can do a lot worse than 92. But, you know, if the cards came as we wish here, we could find someone who's even better and then get him to be an elite right fielder. Now, Jonathan Villar is not that guy. So let's see what we do have to choose from. We got a bad catcher in Carl Sawatsky. And Follow Durden's right. There is no such thing as an elite defensive center fielder in bronze. As someone who won a best-of-5 bronze tournament this evening, I'm keenly aware. Bronze Willie Mays. Where's Bronze Willie Mays? Time's going to run out. 6 minutes left. All right, we need to get focused. We need to focus. Find me a winner. Let's see, what do you guys have? What can Jerry Turner do defensively? Let's see. Not much. Left field only. Bad batting profile. Chartacker, Dade, then Crawford. So Crawford, bad shortstop. Chartack, bad outfielder. But he can play first base too. Bird profile. You know, we do need a bullpen. And I think Jack fits in pretty good there. Mark Lemongello, just a cool name. Have you guys noticed how close we always run here to running out of time? I think that's part of the fun. Paul Dade, we've got some defensive flexibility here. Ooh, and look at that classic PT21 profile on Paul Dade. Let's get him. Let's get him. Round 11. We still need bullpen. We still need a second catcher. Need an outfielder. Let's see what is staring us in the face here. We've got Oscar Zamora, a control reliever. That's not bad. I don't mind that. Rebel Oaks is a center fielder that I ran for a little bit. I mean, he's horrible in center, but he's a good bat. So we could have him as a DH versus right. Dade and Crawford. Duff going down. Kato and Oaks. Let's get Oaks. I like Oaks. He can hit. All right, let's load up the bullpen here. We've got 4 relievers. I'd like to get 2 this round if possible. Ooh, look at this, Lew Croy. We do need a second catcher, and he's not horrible. He's going to hit a little bit, too. So I think we got to go Lew Croy. Bullpen-wise, here's a lefty. That's actually a pretty good profile. I think that's a fit. Iron time. Iron time. I want 2 relievers. I want 1 outfielder. And then a utility guy. So Dave Wainhouse. Yeah, let's go with a little high wire act of Dave Wainhouse. Going to walk a lot of guys. I'm good with that. John King. Brad Wieck. Yeah, let's go John King. Then give me an outfielder. And there are none. Here we go. Hernan Perez can be an outfielder. He can play both corners. Wino 88 rings me up on a Cub. I should definitely know that's pronounced Wick. I'll wear it. Sandy Leone, we don't need it. That's a great defensive catcher for this late. But we've got 2 guys. We got 2.5 minutes. We got all the time in the world here. Now, do we have someone who can play shortstop behind Pena? I think we might not. So we might need to get this Elvis Andrews. He's shortstop only, but he'll play it at a 50, whereas Torres will only play it at a 40. All right. So final pick. We've got Yuka telling me to go Sandy Leone. Yeah, someone with a good point that Lew Croy might be a DH VL. We'll have 12 pitchers with this. I don't mind that. Yeah, let's do it. It's not often you're gifted an 86 catcher this late, and I know it's 86 driven by mostly arm instead of mostly ability, but he'll be the best catcher on the team. All right, guys, that's a winning roster right there. We'll need to clean up some of the deployments, but this looks good. We got Cristobal Torriente in the bullpen. What could go wrong? All right, so homework assignment. Guys, go out there, apply what you saw tonight, and make your team better. It is not that long before we will have a perfect league to win, and I want you to be in it to win it. Because if you are in the perfect league and you make it to the World Series, it will be my bald head calling that play-by-play for you. And early meta often provides some opportunities that don't exist in late meta. So get your team in order. Tighten up those weak links you have on the team. Make sure your lineups make sense, that your VR lineup is optimized to face right-hand pitching, your VL optimized to face left-hand pitching, your bullpen roles are logical and they make sense. Because I really want to see you guys in a couple of weeks when it's time to crown that first perfect league champion. When it's time to say one person was the champion of the week, and that person is you. That's a really fun moment. All right, so where do we go from here? So a couple reminders. Thursday, Chris will drop new content. Kidneys and I will be on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/DRC_nomads. Make sure you don't miss that. We'll tell you what we think of the new content. We'll try to forecast what types of performance can be expected from them. Then next Sunday, we will be right back here, right at this point, doing this exact same stream. But if you missed it at the top, there's going to be a 2-week hiatus after that, taking the family on a vacation. There will be no Practice Makes Perfect League for a 2-week period of time. Now, when I come back, which will be May 30th, if there's a Perfect League World Series, is it May 30th? No, it won't be May 30th. It'll be June 6th. When I come back on June 6th, if there's a Perfect League World Series to call, that's what we'll be doing. If there's not, then we will be doing this for one of the last times before Perfect League is a thing. I'll be heading out to Vegas to see Whale King. But thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for interacting in the chat. Thanks for sending in your data. This week was unbelievable. 6.5 million plate appearances spread across all these leagues you see listed on your screen right now. 3 rookie leagues, 6 iron, 4 stone, 4 bronze, 8 silver, 4 gold, 6 diamond, and I did not even get to them all. I ended up running out of time with 4 leagues left to go, and if you were one of those 4, I do apologize, but thank you guys all for contributing to the stream. So that's going to do it for me. Again, thanks for the time. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for making us all better with the data that you guys share and giving us more and more information. And that's exactly what we need at this stage of the game cycle. So with that, this is DRC signing off. Stay tuned for DishNet. Thanks, everyone.